Before we even read the text, I just want you to imagine for a moment the encounter that leads to I love you, whatever that looks like. Dating, marriage, some form of relationship that causes one person to express verbal love to another person. So you use those big words, you've just sort of crossed you've crossed the Rubicon in some respects, especially in a romantic sense. So if someone you're dating or someone you're serious about, you say, I love you. Okay, now we're in new territory. This is not just two people trying to get to know each other. This is someone putting their heart on the line. Well, why is that? Well, because I love you is a gift. It's an expression of something that's big enough you're willing to give that to one other person, not just something you're throwing out there to just anyone. That's why we take it so serious, because you don't just say to random strangers, I love you, and mean it in a sense of I give my life in one way or the other. So by its very expression, it does something to our heart. So imagine that scenario whereby I love you is the words that are expressed. And then the individual that expresses the I love you also lets the person receiving it know from time to time, just to make sure that you know how much I love you, I will keep you on your toes by scaring you and beating you and oppressing you so that you will know that I love you more than anyone else. Now, it's even hard to come up with a scenario where that makes any sense, although we've all seen people who stay in relationships that are abusive, that are verbally abusive, mentally abusive, sexually abusive, domestic violence, you name it, and they stay in it far too long. I don't know how long too long is, but any violence seems like it's too long for love. They stay in that relationship and they do it because, well, they love me, that's why they do this. They love me, this is just a fault they have. They love me, this is just a bad way of expressing it, and I'm hoping I can change them. And everyone from the outside looking in sees it for what it is, violence and hatred. Not love. It's love. It's selfishness masked in some pseudo form of love or romantic expression. And everybody on the outside goes, man, you're blind. You don't see it, but you got to get out of this thing because this person's going to hurt you. This person's going to kill you. This person doesn't respect you. They can act like they love you, but they don't. And so it becomes very clear that violence doesn't belong in I love you. No one has a problem with that scenario I just gave. You realize that violence doesn't belong with I love you, and you realize that if someone's expressing I love you with violence, they don't really love them. And then we get to the faith. We get into Christianity, and we hear the Bible say God is love. And we seem perfectly content to accept a version of God that is occasionally violent, that will hit you if necessary, that will do things for your own good, that will do things because He loves you. And people from the outside looking in go, why would you serve this God? And we go, yeah, but you don't understand who God is. That's why you're saying that from the outside. And I wonder if that isn't an appropriate comparison. From people from the outside looking in going, why in the world do you Christians claim this God if you believe He does this to you? Oh no, you don't understand God. And maybe, just maybe, we are the person in the relationship who is viewing God through a lens in the same manner as someone being abusive. I don't believe God's abusive, by the way. I don't believe God beats people. I don't believe God attacks us. I don't believe God browbeats us and mocks us and cuts us down and tries to put us in our place once in a while so that we know we're loved. God is love. God's not violence. God is love. God's not fuming anger. God is love. God's not jealousy. God's not beating me up. God is love. That's the landing spot. Perfect love. The best version of love. And the best version of love doesn't have to slap you in the face to get you to believe that you're loved. And we wouldn't buy that if we saw it happening to our own brother or our own sister or our own kids. Why would we buy it? We see it happen to our brothers and sisters in Christ. The reality is I don't believe that God is a violent God trying to prove He loves us by beating us to death. And I don't think the Bible agrees with that kind of love either. So I want to take you tonight on John's little journey to try to define what would happen if you got pure, perfect love into your soul, into your mind, into your consciousness. But then I want to take you into the idea of this retributive, vengeance-laden experience and how you can avoid that because you have something inside of you. You have some equipment that you most desperately need to navigate this world, because everybody needs to be loved. Everybody needs to know they're loved. They need to at least know that someone believes in them. I've wondered before if someone I read this the other day, it was a sociologist, I think, said the most powerful words in the world are not "I love you." The most powerful words in the world are "I am proud of you." Maybe. I've been thinking a lot about that lately. Is it more powerful for someone to say "I love you" or more powerful to say "I'm proud of you"? I kind of think it depends on who it is talking to you, but they both carry an enormous amount of weight. And in some respects, I'm starting to see that come from God. Not just God saying "I love you," but the phrase "I'm proud of you," or at least "I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to call you my son." I think that's what the Bible means when it says He is not ashamed to call us brethren. What's that? Not ashamed might be the inverse of "I'm proud of you. I'm really proud to know you. I'm proud you and I hang out. I'm proud of our quiet time together where you listen to me and I get to listen to you. I'm proud to see where you've come from and where you're going." And if that be the case, then maybe that is maybe that's the perfect expression of the love of God. In any case, let's try to tackle perfect love and let's at least try to have a revelation of it, because this is life-changing stuff. The more you can get it, you'll get a little bit of it, a little bit more of it, a little bit more of it. You'll go through seasons of your life where you need an infusion of the knowledge of perfect love. You'll go through seasons of your life where it seems like you got this nailed. But it's amazing how we have to keep coming back to that well to know that we are loved and know what that means in our life.